Isaac Kotek, aka Subaqueous, and in this video we're going to make the Supersaw wave sound. That really big sounding synth that we hear in a lot of EDM music as well as future bass. Kind of reminds me of like 80s synth sounds, right? With that big saw wave that you can hear juxtaposed by the drums or whatever. Let's check out the sound in Ableton Live. Cool, so that's the sound we're gonna make step by step throughout the rest of this video. This one's a little bit different because I am in the past not knowing what this sound is. I'm gonna be creating it as we watch this video, and then I'm gonna be replaying it now in the future and whatever. Time gets wiggly woggly. I'm just experimenting with the format of these videos. Let me know what you think and let's start making this thing. All right, so here we are in Ableton Live. I have these chords here in MIDI, just so I have something to play with. I'm going to drag in Wavetable. Now that it's here, let's hear it. Cool, it's a good start. And I'm going to put this up to a saw wave. Cool, we're done. That's it. That's all you got to do. Nah, I'm kidding. We're going to do some things to actually make this sound interesting. Now, first thing I want to do is I'm going to go over to my amp and I'm going to make this. That way it comes in a little bit slower, messing with that attack. Bringing down that decay a little bit. And a little bit of the sustain. So that when I let go, it's faster. Whereas if this is longer, I let go and it's slowly releasing. All right, so we're going to set it something like that. This is a good start. There's a few things I want to do where I start modulating this sound. Now, I'm going to modulate this wavetable position by mapping it to my envelope. Let's go with envelope 3. Now if I come over to my mod source on envelope 3, I'm gonna have to play with this. Let's make this a bigger window so we can see all this together. So it's jumping up all the way. I don't want that. I'm gonna bring this down. And let's cool, that way we get a little bit more harmonics as we're up, and then it comes back down to a square. Actually, no, that's the square. It comes back down to a saw. Duh. All right. So envelope 2. All right, so oscillator 2, I'm going to turn that on. And I could do this where I detune this a little bit. Let's go -2 on that one. And let's go +2 on that, or 3. Now we're starting to get that kind of retro saw sound, right? But I find that messing with what this is gives it a little more interesting. So I can go with saw dual, saw dual 2, or 1. Let's go with 3, or no, that one's too much. So I'm going to go with saw 3. Great. Then I'm going to map this position to, let's go with the envelope. Oop, I want to hit that and do the envelope. Now it's mapped to this. Let's slow this down, change this amount a little bit. Now we're going to just get a slight change here. Speed this up a little. You can see how it's kind of cycling through that wavetable. That's exactly what we want to just give it a little more interest. I'm also going to turn on the sub oscillator and crank the tone. I think down here is a sine wave, and when you turn up, it's probably turning more into a triangle wave. Just gives a little more harmonics. Now, if in my track I want like no bass whatsoever, I could turn it up an octave. Because then it'd be very similar to these. It's the same octave, or I'm going to put it at -1 because I think it adds a little bit more punch to this. Now, look, after we got this sound, it's a pretty good start. I want to do a few more things to really make it unique and a little bit more super, right? A little bit more kind of larger. Now I want to do a few things to make this sound a little bit larger, a little more of the super in the Supersaw, right? And give it a little more character. It's a great start, but I'm going to do things like I'm going to map my, right here, my transpose, click that, into the MIDI matrix, or the matrix. I'm going to map the transpose into the matrix. I'm going to put this up. Now I got to change this envelope too. I'm going to bring that down all the way so it goes back to normal. And bring that envelope low. Bring that down. Make that a little quicker. Let's try with negative. I like that. It's just a little much. Nice, now it gives it just like a little bit of a bounce right at the beginning of the sound, which gives it much more character than if it wasn't there. Now let's go with the filter. I'm going to put just a slight filter, but change these settings, which are basically emulating some analog style filters. Turn up that drive, which means I have to turn down this volume. Nice, it makes it just a little bit grittier. I'm going to turn on this second one and use it to get rid of some of those low ends. I'm going to also change the filter. See how that's giving it a lot more air? That's just like what this analog filter emulation sounds like, which is pretty fun. Great. Now, the last thing I want to do is add unison, because unison really ties this sound together. So if I come here and I go with classic, I like classic because I'm going for that kind of classic Supersaw sound. Turn up the voices and the amount. Now I'm watching this right here. It looks like it's still a little loud, so I'm going to turn this down a little bit. So I can always turn up that. Because of gain staging. Gain stage is important. You got to know how to do that. Anyways. Cool. Now we have a really nice, big Supersaw wave sound. Let's hear it in context of the rest of the track. Awesome, there we go. We got this saw wave sound in Ableton's Wavetable. Stoked to share and create this with you. And now we've gone full circle in the paradox of the future past. Now I know what it sounds like. Okay, it's pretty cool. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. There'll be a lot more videos like this on making presets with Ableton Live's Wavetable. Hopefully you learned something along the way. If you have questions or other sounds you'd like me to emulate or try to create in Wavetable, please comment below. And yeah, until next time, subscribe and make some tunes.